gone short on Aussie dollar after the CPI release, mainly because of the fact that we are bearish on the weekly time frame. We've had a series of bearish candles, although I understand we've come into this sell side liquidity. We've still got room for price to continue to the low one, and we have been strongly bearish, and price pushed up with some strong bullish momentum during CPI, and to me that is a reason for price to continue lower. I know I took a long earlier. That was essentially, looking at it on hindsight, was a manipulation London manipulation prior to price finding resistance during New York, and to me continue lower. And what helps, what adds as a confluence to this trade for me is the fact that just before entry, or the 10 o'clock candle, UK time candle, price printed this candle, this bullish candle that took out the highs and lows of the previous candle. And to me, whenever I see that, especially in a bearish trend like this, it's more of a reason for price to continue lower and find liquidity at this low. So my target will be around that low, and I would take targets, partials off along the way, because we've also got TGIF tomorrow, so I'm not really going to be trading all the way down to that low. And especially the fact that we also had a market structure shift with this channel on the 60-minute time frame is another confluence in the opposite direction. So I'm not really going to be, I'll be taking partials along the way. We've got bullish fair value gap right there. I would anticipate or predict a price to come to that level, and I'll take some partials around that bullish fair value gap. So yeah, essentially we came up during CPI, right? I was long this morning. I'd exited that trade at break even because of the fact that we had CPI. CPI came out, price pumped up to New York open, took out liquidity above this high. So this is the high, which is on 60-minute clearer, and also happens to be a bearish engulfing bearish fair value gap that price had previously left, that price tapped into. Essentially had a swing high liquidity grab, or liquidity sweep, displacement lower, push up into that swing with fair value gap above it. And after that, yep, I took a short. So essentially price dropped on the 5-minute time frame, we came down, and I took a short somewhere around here, right there, and I've put my stops above this high. So it's not really it's a one-to-one essentially, and we'll see how that plays out. And simultaneously, I've gone long on dollar CAD on a different account, mainly because of the fact we bullish for the week. I've had a series of bullish candles. CPI came out, it dropped price into a level of support. So yeah, we came into, I say support, it's more of essentially had an accumulation and then a manipulation where price pushed down. We had this accumulation, right, and then we had this manipulation of where price pushed down into these fair value gaps, this 240 order block. We've got this inverse fair value gap around here as well, and essentially I've gone long after price came down. I've already taken one loss first around here, so I was quite aggressive initially. I took an entry somewhere around here, and then I had my stop somewhere down there, aiming for this New York open. And then now I've taken another trade after price came down and took out that low, and I've set my stops around 1.13, I believe, and I won't be targeting much. I'll be targeting above this high, and yeah, that's the trade. Those are the trades I've taken. 2 different trades on 2 different accounts. I'm not the biggest fan of this trade, although we got this candle where price took out liquidity above the highs, and then dropped lower with this bearish engulfing candle. It came after rejecting previous month's high. So essentially we came up, rejected previous month's high. We formed a channel as well in the opposite direction, with RSI diverging from this end all the way to that end, and came in. We had this initial fake break that would have caught a lot of sellers, and then we pushed up, and then after that we took out previous month's high. We consolidated around that area for a while, and at the moment, to me, honestly, I do believe price is going to continue lower. I don't know where to, but we'll see. Or we might see price put in bullish candles and then continue higher like this, and this could have been the low of the day. The main reason I will stick to the dollar CAD trade is because of the fact that I'm more confident on the Aussie dollar trade for Aussie dollar to continue bearish. I do believe Aussie dollar has room to continue lower, and especially to this fair value gap right there, where that breaker is. We came into that breaker, right? Tapped into that breaker. So yeah, I will be watching out to see how Aussie dollar plays out, because I believe it has room to go lower. Unlike dollar CAD, I do also, similar to dollar CAD, right? I do think dollar CAD also has room to continue higher up, but I do think it can come lower first before going higher. So this is where the Aussie dollar trade is right now. Like I was saying, that I wanted to exit some position as price came into this fair value gap. I didn't do that. So after price did, I believe, drop down here, I moved my stops to break even, and I got I exited the trade at break even, avoided taking a loss, and then price came up, took out the highs of that New York session, and then found some resistance, and at the moment it's just ranging sideways, so not really a clear direction. Going short at that level, honestly, mainly because of that weekly time frame bias, which was a bearish bias, but we did come into quite a strong sell side liquidity and rejected that sell side liquidity, so maybe price isn't going to go down just yet. And the way price rejected that sell side liquidity, like I said, like the trade that I took in the morning with a channel, RSI diverging, and also we had a market structure shift right there, right? We had a market structure shift, pull back into that fair value gap and found support. Honestly, it's a good area to go long, but because a higher time frame bias on the weekly time frame was bearish, I didn't really want to go long then, and honestly I shouldn't really be going short there either, because of the fact that we just rejected quite a key level. So it's a trade I should have just stayed out of, but because I've been out of trading for the last 2-3 weeks, haven't traded much. It just felt like I needed to get back in and trade straight away, and that's what I did today. And Monday, I believe, just traded without really any clear bias. I was just shooting from the hip, and I've paid for it. They've all turned into losses essentially, and they've all just been subpar trades, except for this morning's trades. This morning was an A+ setup, just that it was CPI coming out later in the day. I exited it quite early, but apart from that, yeah, most trades have been subpar and not the kind of trades that I want to be taking. And it's cost me a couple of percentage on my account, so I need to reevaluate what I'm doing and get back into trading those A+ setup and avoid trading. I should just avoid trading Wednesday, because I don't know how Wednesday plays, especially when there is a clear direction. This is where dollar CAD is. Like I said, I took a long right earlier after price made a low. I took one loss on one account, and then second, I essentially exited at break even again, because where did I enter? Somewhere around here, I believe. I entered quite low the second trade actually, but because price started to move against me right here, I exited the trade somewhere around here, so it was essentially a break even. Then it pushed up like I was predicting for dollar CAD, that it could potentially come up and take out these highs, which it did. And it came back down, and I was waiting for price to take out these lows, which it didn't. And then it pushed up. At the moment, I had this drawn out. I was predicting price could come into the 618, 50% or 618 right there, and find support and push up. It could do it, won't, it can't. I'm just not going to trade that, because it's not something I know clearly. So I'll leave that for tomorrow, and I'll look for some TGIF setups tomorrow, New York session, especially after PPI news. We've got euro dollar. We've had bearish days every day, even today. So tomorrow, ideally, some kind of a bullish momentum coming into the market and provide some kind of an entry during PPI would be great. So let's see how that plays out.